Welcome back, folks. I'm Wavepunk. Just the other day, I was driving around in my car and Spotify suggested the song Try by Fly By Midnight. This is not a band I think I was aware of before this song. The name Fly By Midnight sounds really familiar. Looking through the rest of their discography, I didn't recognize any of the songs, but oh my goodness, the song started, and as it started to play, I restarted it about 20 seconds in. I was like, hold on, wait, this is crazy. This is so cool. There's not many songs I've heard recently that have occupied my attention as well through the entire song, from beginning to end, as this song did. Honestly, every decision they made was the decision I was hoping they were gonna make next. So, first thing to know about the song is its length. It's only 2 minutes and 16 seconds long. That's quite short in terms of pop tracks, which are already kind of a short genre. The song definitely could be longer. I know I would enjoy hearing this song for longer, but I really do respect when musical artists are like, look, we had a good idea. We weren't gonna dilute it by trying to make the track longer because it has to be longer here. It's a very well done track. I don't think they need to make it any longer than this, and I'm really excited to talk about the things in this track that I like so much. Just starting off at the very beginning. What is that sound? Oh my goodness, that's so cool. There's a couple things going on in that sound. One's like a halo drum, like a hand pan drum, the kind of like belly sound, which is just a gorgeous sound that I've never heard really used in pop music, but people love to play them. You'll see meditation streams of people just playing that instrument. I've always wanted that instrument, though, to like have more music around it. So that's super cool that they're using the halo drum in there. The next thing is they got those yells coming over the top. It's almost like it's a tail to the main sample sound, which is this, what I think is like a cello. I couldn't decide when I first was listening to it whether this sample was a cello or like deep stringed instrument that is being made to kind of sound like a voice, or if it was a voice that was being made to sound like strings. But I mean, if you take a listen, make a decision for yourself. I could really see that being something like bum 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 bum. Bum, bum. Or it could be a string that's got kind of like a Vox emulator sort of device put on top of it. There's some sort of Antares effect. So I love that sound. That is just, oh, it's so cool. Such a good sample mix there. That's just like, it scratches all the itches. The halo drums in this cool, like kind of pinging around in the pan and the stereo thing, but that wasn't what I noticed at first at all when I was listening to this track in the car. The first thing I really enjoyed was the sample. The second thing was the chord progression that they are operating in here, which is it's very tight for a chord progression. Like, we change chords very quickly here. If you listen closely, it's like 4, 4, 5, 6, 5, 4, 4, 5, 1, 5, 4, 4, 5, 6, 5, 2, 4, 5. Like, it's a chord progression that is almost melodic in how fast we're moving chords, and the phrase of the chord progression has kind of 4 distinct sections. It's kind of an A, B, A, C. So it's got that 4, 5, 6, 5, and then 4, 5, 1, 5, 4, 5, 6, 5, 2, 4, 5. Off the top of my head, that's not like a classical form. A, B, A, C is not like a named classical form that you see in a lot of places. If you do know, if you're still in music theory classes right now and you're just working through that form in one of your classes, let me know. But it's not often that you get a chord progression that you could sing. Dun, da, da, dun, dun, bum, ba, ba, bum, 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 bum. Now, I want to really point out really quickly that while the chord progression is 4, 5, 6, 5, in this key, I don't know what key this is, it doesn't matter to me, this is the tonic, and the chord progression is 4, 4, 5, 6, 5. The melody that you're hearing is not that. The melody you're hearing is do, do, re, mi, re, do. This chug of the cello or voice or whatever the sample is, it's playing a fifth. It's playing the tonic of the chord, and also the fifth on the top there. But the fifth is really, really strong. If you listen to it and you just try and sing along with it, bum, ba, ba, bum, 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 which is such a cool thing. The chord progression here, the instrument that is generating the chord progression, is also generating a melody a fifth up. When I say you can sing this chord progression, it's not just that you sing the tonics of the chords are moving quickly enough that it kind of forms a melody. There's a chord progression underneath, but there is a melody that makes a lot more sense as a melody too. Do, do, re, mi, re, do is a much more normal melody than fa, fa, sol, la, so. Starting any song on a chord that isn't tonic means you got to do something to really establish that that chord isn't tonic. And what they do here is they make the fifth of the chord stick out in every chord so that you are hearing that tonic note punch you in the face right at the beginning. Do is just hitting you right in the face, but the chord is fa. It's down on 4. It's wonderful. It's super cool. If I'm really taking a music theory analysis to this, given that we have the same instrument giving us the chord progression and the melody here at the beginning, I would probably take that second 5 chord out of the progression, but not out of the melody. So the melody is do, re, mi, re, do, but the chord progression is 4, 6, 5, and that kind of, it's just more kind of a leading motion between 4 and 6 there at the beginning. Tell me, I mean, I don't feel that second 5 chord. That's the first 5 chord I really feel. So it's like 4, 1, 5, 4, 6, 5, 2, 4, 5. The crazy part though, this is really, I think, the hook of this song. The chord progression we were just talking about doesn't change the entire song. That A, B, A, C that we were talking about does not change through every section, verse, chorus, everything. And yet they're able to make this piece interesting. Listen to how cool this is. You've heard this part before. Maybe your ears are a little bit tired of this at this point. Pretend like you're hearing it for the first time here. Okay, and now you're allowed to be bored because you've heard it one time. So we're gonna change things up. Vocals, drums. Now we have an actual melody. Now we've only heard the melody one time, so let's listen to that a second time. Oh, but we get background vocals. Some really syncopated guitars back there. And now pre-chorus. We're building. We've added a lot of texture here. Same chord progression. Surely new chord progression in the chorus, right? No. It's so good. Every single time we loop the progression, the progression, the A, B, A, C progression that we talked about earlier, every loop of the chord progression, something changes. That is if you're gonna stick with one chord progression for an entire piece, you kind of have to do that. You have to change things regularly because the harmonic content is not what makes the piece interesting. The piece can be enjoyable. I love this chord progression. I can listen to this chord progression for hours, but no matter how much I love a chord progression, my ear will get tired of it if you're not changing things. So the stuff they're doing melodically, we'll talk about in a second, but that is a huge part of what makes this interesting. But formally, they're constantly, every time that chord progression loops, changing something. One thing that's really cool, we kind of reference it, they have like a pre-chorus section that kind of brings the energy down. And then the first time we hit the word try, which is the name of the song, try just a little, on the chorus there, we have an actual pull back of energy, I would say, while the melody is driving the energy up by having us jump up to that tonic, try just a little, and having us land on the name of the song, the word we're probably looking for the most if we saw the name of the song before the song starts playing. But there's definitely a decrease in energy here because the texture of the piece goes down. You're so anticipating in that spot it to just go bam and just like hit us with the drop there, which makes it so cool. It's like they're pulling back this bow. The spot where you thought they were gonna let go, they didn't. They just kept pulling back. And so when they finally do bring it in, there's got to be something really interesting here. There's got to be, right? I think there's something really interesting here. But one thing that has probably been lost by me chopping this up is the tempo of the track, kind of the feel of the track, where you feel it has been in this one spot the same time, kind of this full-time groove with the snare. This is where we're at. We're just sitting here. And we sit here the entire verse and pre-chorus. Here we are. This is good. You're here at home with me, right? And they've been just hitting you with this over and over again. But then it's still in the background there. We're here. So what are they going to do to make this drop interesting? What to completely change your perspective? It's going to go to... Oh, that's so cool. They go to a halftime groove, and the thing that's great about halftime grooves is it makes your brain rethink all of the relationships that you're hearing. This is a very syncopated song. I start talking about the rhythm here. There is almost nothing that's like really coming in on downbeats. This was back at the beginning here. Like, listen to the Halo drum. like on the upbeat the whole time. Once we have the actual vocal melody. There's so much kind of filling in the gaps, so much being syncopated and dragging us around, which makes that snare so important. Just holding you home, being like, hey, here's where you are. If you're wondering where you're at rhythmically, this is where we're at. So this is what you're measuring everything against. All that syncopation against. Which makes when they go to halftime in the chorus, your brain suddenly has to hear the try just a little bam bam ba ba. All those upbeats, you gotta feel slightly different. It's like they're happening twice as fast, even though nothing's actually changed. Halftime is such a cool groove here. Now, my favorite part of the piece is the way they come out of the chorus, back into the verse. So we're at halftime. Try just a little more. Oh, we just go straight back to it, and it feels so good to my brain. Like, you just get to like take all the math you were just doing, and again, just like truncate it right back together. It's such a cool, like, just, and it drives so well. The one problem with halftime is that it slows down a little bit. Your brain can relax a little bit. You're kind of like, you're skiing on much larger slopes, and then it goes back to being like back in the slalom so quickly. It's just so beautiful here. Hey guys, editing Wave Punk here. I'm not as pretty as YouTuber Wave Punk, but I did notice something that YouTuber Wave Punk missed the first time as I was editing through this. One of the things that makes this my favorite part. Everything I just said is true, but there's something about the chords. There's something they omit here. We talked a lot in this video about how the chord progression does not change through the entire song, and they just keep those same kind of like that cello sound is just going chun, 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 the whole song. Well, there's a few spots where they don't change the chords, they just omit a chord. They omit something that they had previously, and this is one of those spots, and it's really, really powerful. As we come out of the chorus for the first time and go straight back into the verse like we were just talking about, the very first chord, which is the very first sound we hear in the song and that we have heard on that same chord, like every single measure as this chord progression goes, is missing, and you can feel its emptiness as you're waiting for it to come back on that offbeat that follows up on it. Listen to the chord that's missing. Oh, it's so cool. It drives it so well through the negative space, which is the thing I love getting to point out. So that missing chord is genuinely a huge part, I think, of what drives the energy forward here and makes this literally my favorite part of this really short, wonderful piece here. And it was a big enough deal for me to boot up the camera and record a little bit of extra video about it. Okay. No, enough from me. Back to the video. The last thing rhythmically I'm going to talk about here is the melody and the way downbeats are treated. In the verse, you get a lot of downbeat rhythm. Like if I just sit here and just kind of like do this, like this is down and this is up, just kind of like listen to the way that the melody at the beginning here, like like where the accents of the melody fall on this. Down, down, up, down, 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 up. Get a lot of downs. Down, up, down, 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 down. Not just downbeat the whole time. There are some upbeats in there, which is what makes it interesting. You need to have accents on both sides to have your melodies really feel good. But listen to the difference in the chorus, how contrast to the chorus is to the emphasis we see in the verses. Down, down, up, 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 down, 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 up, 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 up. Just a little, if you don't, so try just a little, try just a little, try just a little. Oh, it's such a good song. It's such a good song. Now, we've only really been talking about the first half of the song, so how do they keep the second half of the song interesting? If it's, again, the same chord progression, and every time you repeat the chord progression, you gotta change something here. The second half of a song doesn't necessarily have to have as active changes because you're taking the first idea you heard, and now you are replaying that entire idea. The song, overall, is a big A, B, A, B. It's just verse, chorus, and then it's kind of over. But because we've now fully gone through A and B one time, we can now do A and B again, and our listeners are getting to enjoy the reward of now knowing the roadmap of the song, and you're getting to listen through and go like, oh, I know where all these things are going to be. So they do add changes, and I'd encourage you to go listen to the song yourself if you want to kind of hear a lot of those textural changes. But the one thing I will play for you from the second half is the way we get out of pre-chorus back into the chorus. Remember the first time around, they were kind of drawing back the bro string with the pre-chorus, and then the first play through the chorus where we get into the try just a little bit, they just kind of kept pulling back, and then they gave us the halftime groove and like really released that energy. Listen to the way that they draw it even longer here the second time around. So we get This is very similar to the first time. Still just pulling this back. Up, pull back, pull back. It's gonna be okay. So we're gonna get it right here, right? This is where we're gonna get it. Oh, no, keep going. Up, beat, bam, and then they let go. Ow! Okay, I'm not gonna play any more of the song. You guys gotta go listen to it yourself if you wanna hear the whole song. It's so good. It's such a great song. Lots of wonderful musical elements, lots of use of music theory. I don't know how much these guys know about the music theory they're employing, but that is normal for good pop musicians. They just know how to pull the elements of Western harmony that have been ingrained into every one of our psyches and put it into their music and make bangers like this. Tribe Fly by Midnight, folks. It's a good song. I loved it. I hope you guys do too. Let me know if you enjoyed this type of video. I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye.
More good is breaking down your walls if you sneak out the door.